Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business, and then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a few topics, typically. Sometimes. We'll see how it goes. It is Christmas Eve. Happy holidays to everybody watching. I will be here on New Year's Eve as well, if you are so inclined. That'll be our last weekly chat for the year. So if you guys have ideas for that topic other than, well, maybe we'll do goal setting or something, but let me know what you guys want to do. But today we're going to talk about commercial voiceover. So the poll, naturally, is centered around commercial voiceover. So the poll is, what should be the focus when it comes to reading or recording commercial voiceover? Your choices are tone or pace. Should you be focusing on the specific kind of tone? Should you be speaking slower, faster, more somber, more upbeat? Should you be focusing more on specifically the tech specs? Meaning, does it need to be a certain file format? Does it need to be a specific length? Right? Is it 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds? Should you be focusing on the feelings or emotion that you're supposed to be invoking within this commercial voiceover? Right? Is it a sales? Are they selling something? Is it a call to action of some sort? Is it trying to play on your heartstrings? What is the feelings or emotion behind it? And then the other option is all of the above, which I think all of you clearly saw through where I was going with that. And it is all of the above. You should be taking into account the tone or pace, because a specific kind of call to action or a feeling or emotion is going to need or necessitate a specific kind of tone and pace. You should also be taking into account the tech specs, right? Because again, if it's a 15-second commercial, you can't be speaking super slow if there's a lot of copy, right? You might need to be at a little bit of a faster clip. If the client doesn't have their own sound engineer, does it need to be sent to them in a specific format, raw, processed, ready to go? Tech specs are important. And then also feelings and emotion. What is it that you're doing within this commercial spot, right? What kind of emotions? Again, heartstrings. What are you trying to do? So it is all of the above. All of these things should be taken into account when you're recording commercial voiceover. But I think the main thing, what I really wanted to talk about today on this topic, was specifically, let's just say most commercials are trying to get your attention. They're trying to get your involvement in something, whether it be to buy a specific thing, to get you involved, to perhaps volunteer, donate, to make you aware of an event happening, right? They're trying to get your attention, your call to action for something, right? That is the whole point of a commercial. It's a call to action for something, right? So, depending on what it is, it's going to necessitate a specific kind of emotion, a feeling, right? So let's just say, for example, I was going to sell to you, I'm trying to think of something good here. What if I was trying to sell to you, I don't know, oatmeal, let's just say. Instant oatmeal, right? I don't know why that comes to mind, but if I was selling to you a box of instant oatmeal, what would my approach be? Would I be trying to, would there be sense of urgency? Would I be trying to get you to buy it like right now, right now, right now? Because it tastes so good you have to have it right this minute? More than likely not. I think what usually gets me to buy something, and I think this goes with most people, is the feelings of nostalgia, comfort, home, family, right? Feeling full. It's a healthy option, relatively, right? So these are all the things that I want to focus on during my commercial read. I want to try to, spark that feeling of nostalgia, of sitting at home with the family at the breakfast table having a bowl of oatmeal. It's warm, it's comforting, it's filling, especially on a snowy winter's day, right? So those are the things that we really need to think about as voice actors. What is it that I'm doing? Again, always going back to the W's, right? Who am I as the narrator? Am I mom? Am I a doctor? Am I a salesperson? Who am I as the narrator? Because that's definitely going to determine what kind of tone you're going to use. The other W, who am I recording this for, or who am I talking to? Who is my audience, right? Who's listening to me? Is it another mom? Is it another group of doctors? Is it, a class of kindergartners? Who am I talking to? Because that is definitely going to determine your tone. And then finally, why am I talking to them? Am I trying to get them to donate? Am I trying to get them to adopt a dog? Am I trying to get them to buy oatmeal? Am I trying to get them to buy a new car? That is definitely going to determine your tone, right? But if you're selling something, really anything, you're trying to really play on the emotion involved in purchasing that thing. So aside from oatmeal, if I was trying to get you to buy a brand new Mercedes, I'm going to touch on the feelings of, luxury. You deserve this. This is opulence. This is that place called there. This is that status. That is that you've earned this kind of thing, right? So really understanding the script that you're narrating and the W's, right? Script interpretation is the 3 W's, is really going to help you to get that emotion across. And then also taking into account any tech specs, which are going to let you know if does it need to be a certain format, does it need to be a certain pace, are they looking for a specific tone to be used? Are they looking for, anything else that needs to be taken into account? But really putting yourself in that position of yourself, like in that nostalgic state of, having the oatmeal yourself with your family, or you yourself sitting in this luxurious car that you've always wanted, is really going to help with that. And I think we overlook that, especially when we're getting started. We're so focused on, hyping it up or really focusing on the words and not so much the feelings behind the words, if that makes sense. So that's really what I wanted to impress upon you today, is not to really focus so much on where to put the inflection or the emphasis, but really focusing on the feelings behind what it is that you're recording and getting that across. And again, we always talk about in my group about having props or pictures of people that will help you to get in touch with that emotion is really, really helpful. You could have a whole slew of things, props, in your studio, and no one will ever know. You know, they're there to help you to get to that feeling, right? If you have like a little stuffed animal that belongs to your child that really makes you feel like, warm and fuzzy, that could help to get that emotion out. Or something, really high value that you really love, and have that in your studio if that brings you that emotion. Or pictures of your family that make you smile. Those things really help. And it's okay to use them. Why not? Right? All right. As always, if you have something to add or you have something that has worked for you, opinions, advice, please put it in the comments and we will go through those now. Let me first get rid of this banner. And we'll see who's first in. Paul was here before I was here. Always beating me to the punch. Early riser. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good morning, Paul in Arkansas. Good morning to you, Paul. And then next in was Peak Parables. Merry Christmas. I have found in commercial VO the client cares more about tone and pacing, and though all are important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the tone and pacing, along with the feelings and emotion, I think, are more important. Because obviously, that commercial is a call to action of some sort. So that is the whole purpose behind the commercial read. For my individual case, it is more about conveying information in a short blip accurately than emotion like an audiobook would apt to be. I think it's a different kind of emotion. Because for audiobooks, and I'm assuming you're talking more along the lines of fiction, perhaps, where you're having dialogue or conversations, you're a character within the audiobook, interacting with other characters, whereas in a commercial, more often than not, you're talking directly to the consumer or for the consumer. You're directed at a particular, target demographic. You're talking to somebody specific, instead of acting out a scene with multiple people. So it's a little bit different, but in the same respect, you're still trying to, evoke an emotion or a feeling or to, it's almost along the same lines, but different in the same way. Caesar's here, of course. Hi, Caesar. Oh, hi, Angela. Thank you for finally giving us an all of the above option. Yes, I thought I would be nice this time. No trickery this time. Because all of the above is just too easy, right? If there's an all of the above, then you just go, that's kind of like the default answer. She's trying to trick me. Okay, I'm going to select all of the above. But, it's Christmas Eve. I thought I'd be nice this time. Everything is crucial. Yes, there's limited time to perform the read, and the read has to hit a perfect home run emotionally. As for the technicals, the performance has to sit neatly atop a music bed. The music also has to complement the delivery without drowning it out entirely. This requires finely tuned EQ and compression. But just side note for most of you watching who maybe have not recorded a commercial, I wouldn't worry too much about what Caesar's talking about here in this comment. Depending on where the client came from and if they have their own sound engineer on their end, if they're not looking for a finished, upload-ready product from you, then more than likely they're going to have someone, their sound engineer, do all of that fine-tuning for you. So you may not have to even worry about that. I don't think maybe once or twice in 6 years that I have added music or sound effects or something to a commercial read, more often than not. So 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, I've just given them, just a read, and then they'll take it and they'll do what they need to do with it on their end. So don't worry so much about Caesar's point here. Caesar is light years ahead of most of us in that regard. I've always been fascinated by the craft of commercial voiceover and intend to refine my skills in this regard next year and hopefully be able to teach it as well. I think you should, including the writing process. Absolutely. That said, hello everyone. If you're reading this now, it has been Christmas for an hour in the Philippines. Well, Merry Christmas to you. I fear my Christmas presents will send me down a new analog equipment rabbit hole. I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. I know. My Pennywise mug is very festive, I know. It's one of my favorites, though, because it's big. Holds lots of coffee. Jim Williams says, morning from Memphis. Hot chocolate all around. Oh, that sounds amazing. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Christmas movies and hot chocolate. We'll see. Gregory says, good morning, Gregory. Good morning, all. Dallas is taking a shower right now, so no last-minute Christmas shopping. Are you one of those? Are you one of those, Gregory? Last-minute Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve? Tisk, tisk. Paul says, good day, all, and Merry Christmas from Dunmow, UK. Good day to you. Merry Christmas. Jim says Memphis is in the 50s, going to 60 for high heat wave. That sounds awfully high for you guys right now. Right? Isn't it? What is it in Phoenix right now? You guys are about the same temperature we are. We're about 62, 63 degrees. But, that's the desert. You guys should be a little lower than that, I would think. Dwight is here. Hey, Dwight. Merry Christmas Eve and Happy Hanukkah Eve to all. Hello, Angela and my VO associates. It's great to see you and great to be seen. Happy holidays. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Rustic Hillbilly. Peach jam was delicious. Pamela. Hey, Pamela. Howdy from Washington. How you doing? Caesar says, goal setting is an excellent topic for our next Tuesday topic. I agree. How should we go about formatting that? I think I'll figure something out. What we've learned this year and how we'll apply it to our VO business next year. That's a good point. I like that. Jim says tone and pace would be according to the topic of the copy, I would think. Absolutely. Tone and pace, again, is along the same line as feeling and emotion. And then, of course, to your point, the point of the commercial read, right? What is it that we're trying to do? So all of those are going to have different approaches, right? Because if you're trying to, just as an example of what we're saying here, if you're trying to, let's just say you are the Humane Society and you're trying to get people to come in and adopt a dog for the holidays, perhaps, around the holidays. You're not going to be super upbeat like car salesmen, right? You're probably going to want to be, want them to be a little empathetic, sympathetic, we need to adopt these babies and give them homes kind of a thing, right? It's going to be very dependent on what the purpose of the commercial is. Angel, hello everyone and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Angel. Dwight says, I saw 2 different production houses on TikTok talking about time. They express that 85% of auditions are immediately dropped and not even listened to if the file is longer than the time requirement. That's a good point. And I have seen also quite a few, perhaps casting directors, I don't want to lump them all together, but casting director types, producing content, talking about what's an immediate delete, or, which auditions they don't even listen to. And the majority of the time, it's not only, to Dwight's point, if it doesn't meet the stated, allotted time that the read should be in, but also if there's, tons of dead air at the beginning, right? There's like 2 seconds of silence at the beginning of your audition. They're gone. Don't make them wait. They have probably hundreds of auditions to listen through if they even get through all of those. So if you're one of the lucky ones to get listened to, don't make them wait to hear you, right? Cut out all of that dead space at the beginning of your file and let them hear you right away. And then to Dwight's point, if the tech specs state that it is a 15-second commercial, make sure that your audition is within that 15 seconds. If you're giving them multiple takes, perhaps the tech specs were a little bit vague in terms of tone or approach or something like that, and you think the copy could go one of two ways, perhaps give them 2 takes or 3 takes, but at the very beginning of the file, state that. Take 1 of 3, take 1 of 2. So they know that there are multiple takes, but make sure that each of those takes remains within the allotted time that the commercial read should be in. So if it's a 15-second commercial, make sure each of those takes fits within 15 seconds. Although, to Dwight's point, now that I'm thinking about it, if they're looking at the file itself and they see that it's 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds, I'm wondering if they would not even listen to that. Tricky. If there are any casting directors watching this, please let me know. Please answer this question. Jim says no, just sounds cozy. It's a cold weather meal, mostly. Be warm. The oatmeal? Cozy. That's right. Oatmeal just sort of, it's synonymous with cozy, warm, filling. It reminds me of, maybe Saturday mornings on a cold winter's morning, watching Saturday morning cartoons, kind of a thing. Immediately makes me smile. Oh, sorry, Tanya, completely skipped you. Tanya says, evening all. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Peak Parable says, I would like to change my previous statement. I was mixing learning and commercial to convey information. You can change it. That's fine. For commercial, it depends. Songs, what is being sold that conveys delivery on a product, version, a service. Yeah, it's really going to be dependent on all of those factors, right? What's the point? Who are you as the narrator? Who are you talking to, and why am I talking to them? If you can get those 3 basics down, you'll be a lot better off. The commercial will be a lot closer, if not, what they're looking for, if you can analyze the script and get that kind of information. I was starting to veer off. I had to bring myself back. Tangent, no tangent. Stay the course. JCC BCL AOL says, hello, everyone. I just want to wish everyone a great holiday, whatever that might be. Thank you, Angela, for all that you do. Well, thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. I appreciate the time that you guys take to hang out and offer your advice and opinions on things, too. Everybody's perspective helps. Jim says, this is selling, so sell the taste and feeling of eating it. Exactly. The voice comes in low, then let the engineer make it sizzle. Caesar says, usually it's the producer sound engineer's job to mix the commercial. The VO just has to focus on timing and performance. I just happen to be both a VO and engineer. Yes, Caesar. Yes, you are. Jim says, my peaks average -6 and go from there. Jim says, Caesar, analog equipment, really? Caesar says, Pennywise for Christmas is awesome. Like the marshmallows in my hot cocoa. You'll float too. That's so funny. I have a fresh bag of marshmallows. So I'm going to say that when I drop them in my hot chocolate. You'll float too. You guys know I like my scary stuff. Dwight says, don't be jealous, Angela, of Caesar's analog rabbit hole. We mere mortals can never catch up to his level of tubes in the audio world. Jim says, I don't buy presents, I make them. Well, look at you. JCCBCL AOL says, I should get you an Art the Clown Santa mug to go with your Pennywise mug. You know, I'm surprised I haven't seen one yet. Because I typically go to the spirit store, you know, the Halloween store that pops up every year, and get myself a new mug. Because, again, I like the spooky stuff. I did not see an Art the Clown mug this year. I was very surprised because Art the Clown was everywhere. But no mugs. I'm surprised my son hasn't found one. He's a big Art the Clown fan. He wants to direct horror films. Anywho. Nafama says, hello, Nate here from Chattanooga. First time live with Vio Angela. Welcome, welcome. Although I could have sworn I've seen your name before. Are you sure? I think this might be your second or third time. Thanks for all the great vids and advice. Happy holidays all. Yes, happy holidays to all of you. Caesar says to Jim, and yes, analog equipment is absolute chef's kiss. Headroom, dynamic range, tone, all the good things. Dwight. FYI, cozy in my jammies. Way too much info. Eating homemade Italian Christmas cookies. Pignoles and agnettes. Don't butcher me if I said those wrong. I don't speak Italian. We had another cookie day this past Saturday. I'm done. Tired of cookie weekends. How could you ever be tired of cookie weekends? Caesar says to Dwight, this coming from someone with an Apollo Twin X. How are you enjoying the plug-in buffet? Dwight says to Caesar, yes, I am so ready to play with the new Christmas Apollo plug-in presents. I told wifey I bought them this morning. You can imagine how that went. Jim says, I agree with ads being a different read than books. Reading books is storytelling, quite different from selling something. I would think in some instances they would walk a fine line, depending on, of course, again, the emotion that you're trying to, invoke in whatever it is that you're doing. But for the most part, I think they are similar. Maybe, walking the same sort of lines. But not all. Caesar says to Dwight, did your conversation begin with honey? I can explain. Michael Howard says, emotion. Shifting from pain and sadness to joy and feelings of hopefulness and determination as you move through a script. Yeah, AI will never be able to do that. I have learned to never say never. However, it may not be anytime soon, right? Even if you could program an algorithm to do certain things at certain times, there's still no depth of understanding those emotions like a human can. Because as humans, we've been through, I think for the most of us, we've been through the best of the best and the worst of the worst. And AI will not truly understand that. It might be programmed to emote that way at some point, but coming across as genuine and feeling the words, I think might be difficult, right? Dwight says to Caesar, it started as soon as she admitted that she was guilty for overspending. Then I said the same thing. Then she asked how. Oops. Jim says, in sound mixing, the levels add up, so they need to be a moderate level going in. Yeah, to your point and the point you made earlier about your where your peaks are, I usually deliver all my voiceovers usually between -3 and -6. They usually fall within that range. So I'll always my last step is normalizing to negative 3 dB. That's always my last step with everything, unless the client is asking you specifically for a completely raw file, meaning no effects of any kind, no nothing. They're going to handle it on their end, so don't do anything to it. But when I deliver a upload ready file to my clients, the peaks will fall between negative 3 and negative 6. Caesar says, Angela, I found an Art the Clown mug in the Spirit online store. I'll throw a link in Platinum. Thank you. Well, they didn't have any in the store. But then again, we went really close to Halloween, so maybe they were just sold out. That's probably what happened. Because art was everywhere this year. Dylan says, gah, sorry, donuts. I honestly think the tone and emotion are the biggest things for commercial voiceovers. The tech specs are important for everything we do. Yes, because we want the person listening to the commercial to feel, right? We want them to feel something. And whether that feeling is sadness, nostalgia, fear of missing out, right? Hurry, 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 come get your new Honda. I mean, whatever it is, right? We want the listener to feel something. So we have to, as voice actors ourselves, we have to understand which feeling we're trying to get them to feel and to effectively emote that, for that to come across in our read, to get them to feel those emotions and feel those things, those feelings, feel the feels. Tim Gleason is here. Hello, Tim. Is finding commercial work primarily Fiverr, Upwork, etc., or production companies? You could find commercial work just about anywhere from my experience. So you'll find it on the pay-to-plays. You'll find it on the freelance marketplaces. You can find it directly. You know, as we talked about before on my channel here about reaching out to production companies directly from agents. You can find commercial work everywhere. I don't think I've ever been on or seen. Yeah, I think you could find commercial work everywhere. Jim says AI comes from a machine's guess. It has no soul from which to create. It's just algorithms, right? Caesar said, on the subject of AI and Christmas, did you know Coca-Cola did a cheap AI remake of their iconic Holidays Are Coming? Oh, no. No. A Christmas fever dream. I bet you it did. Just like when we were doing What's My Voice in Platinum last week. And we were looking at those images, and some of those character images had, I mean, you could always tell when something's made by AI, right? Because for the most part, AI can't handle arms, legs, fingers, toes. There's always an extra digit or two, maybe an extra arm coming out of somewhere weird. Or was it little Timmy he just had little stumps for arms. He was like a little gingerbread man. He didn't have arms. You can always tell when something's made by AI. So I can only imagine what that looked like. I'm going to have to go look that up now. Gregory says, I used to write commercial copy for radio and learned those cheats in performance in order to squeeze that word salad into 15, 20, or 30-second spots. You know, Gregory, I think you should share that with everybody in one of our Platinum sessions, because it would be interesting to see or to hear the behind the scenes of creating that kind of copy. But in my experience, mainly on freelance marketplaces, when people are trying to, long story short, they'll have way too many words to fit into that time slot, right? Because generally speaking, it's a normal pace of narration for a minute is about 150 words. So roughly about 150 words per minute, right? So they'll give you a 30-second spot and there's 500 words in it. The math ain't gonna math there, right? So to your point, I'd like to hear how that is done. How, when writing that copy, that word salad is meant to fit into those spots. Dylan says, I disagree. I can't find commercial work anywhere. Maybe it's just me. You know, at this time of year, I would think, and I'm just giving you my personal opinion, but this time of year, I would think most of the year's budget's probably used up already, right? So this time of year is probably not good for that kind of thing. But coming the new year, you'll probably see a whole lot more. I would think most advertising budgets are probably about used up at this point for the year, right? Oh my God. Hang on, I just got a super chat. Dwight? Are you kidding me? Thank you so much. That I'm kind of speechless by that. Thank you so much, Dwight. Merry Christmas, Angela. Go and spend this on you and just you. You have been such a great support in our VO world. Thank you. That is so sweet. I'm trying my hardest not to get emotional, but that is very sweet of you. Thank you, Dwight. And Merry Christmas to you. Very sweet. Thank you so much. Clicking away before I get emotional. Thank you. Jim says, you are talking off to the side with that mic. I wonder if that technique works better with a shotgun mic you use, not so well with a condenser mic. Oh, you mean as far as the placement of the mic? As long as the record, like the capsule, the end that is recording or picking you up is pointed at your mouth, that's essentially what you're going for. So I could have this microphone, you know, at a 90-degree angle, as long as it's pointed at my mouth to the side. I think that is probably one of the best positions for a mic, mainly because if your microphone is directly in front of your mouth, you're not only going to get a whole lot more breath recorded, a lot more plosives, right? Because as you speak, you have air, vibration, you know, plosives and things. You don't want the microphone to be just overloaded with all of that stuff. Your recording is going to have all of that stuff in it. So to get past that part, or to not have all the breath and plosives, it's still pointed at my mouth, but as I speak, everything, you know, all the plosives and things are going past it and not into it. So that is the main reason why it's off to the side, so off axis. And I do recommend that for most people that work with me. So, but you have to take into account the kind of microphone that you have. Some of them are, you know, omnidirectional, or they're just, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like not front facing. There's another word. I'm just dumbfounded by Dwight. I'm sorry. So make sure that your microphone is set to pick up only what's directly in front of it, but off axis, off to the side, if that answers your question. Erica Carr says, I'm on the late freight. Are you saying that we don't have to worry about AI yet? I'm not. I think I can tell you that for the last couple years, I am still, actually increasingly so, I'm still seeing work where I am redoing projects that were originally, where they had originally used an AI voice, and the end user was not happy with the end result. The client was not happy with an AI voice. They wanted a real human to do it. So I'm seeing more and more of these. So I think although it could be faster, in most cases cheaper to use an AI voice for things, it's not going to have the same effect or, again, end result, right? I don't think the end user is going to be happy with that. And again, depending on who the end user is, if it's going to be a everyday consumer like you and me, we can usually tell when it's AI. And again, that connection is not going to come through effectively from a machine. And I think COVID, all of us being shut down had a lot to do with that, where all of us were sort of just yearning for that human connection that the AI is just not doing it. Right? We need that connection. Social media too does it too, I think. We're seeking that connection with other individuals, humans. So to answer your question, simply, yeah, I wouldn't worry about AI just yet. Oh my gosh. Caesar, I don't know what the conversion of that is, but still, thank you. That's very, very sweet. You guys just trying to get me all emotional. You guys think you're doing it on purpose now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Wait. Here's mine. Merry Christmas, Angela. You've been crucial to both my business growth, mental health, and spiritual healing. My best years have been lived as part of your coaching and your community. Now go pick up that art mug and some more marshmallows. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. I'm trying to not get emotional. I'm just happy to be here, and I can at least offer you guys some entertainment at the very least. But thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm clicking away before I lose my grip on things. Tanya says, I'm seeing a lot of commercial in Star now. In Star. I'm not sure what that is. And Backstage, yeah. Backstage casting call club. There's a ton of these sort of like cattle call type of sites as well, on top of pay-to-plays and freelance marketplaces. I'm telling you guys, if you just look around and do some Google searching, you'll find a lot of places to find work or solicit, your work. So, but you just have to get out there and start exploring. Jim says, I agree with Dwight. Your input is priceless. Dylan says, I have a condenser mic and I use it off axis like that to reduce plosives and extraneous mouth noise. That's a great way to put it. Extraneous mouth noises. Jim says sound quality is what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's essentially what we've been talking about, sound quality for sure. Good rule of thumb for those of you that haven't bought a microphone yet, in addition to having it off axis, you want to go with like the hang loose sort of distance, which 4 to 6 inches. So you want the mic about 4 to 6 inches from your mouth, roughly. I get a little bit closer sometimes for different things, or get a little bit further back. But generally speaking, as long as you're comfortable in your chair, that's what I would do first, is get comfortable in the place that you're going to be while recording, and then move the microphone toward you, off axis, about 4 to 6 inches away from your mouth. You guys, stop it. Now you're doing it on purpose. Dylan says, I actually have money in my business account at the end of this year, and it's because of everything that you've taught me. Stop it. You guys are going to make me all emotional. Your coaching and platinum group have been a light in the darkness this past year. Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for all of you. You three have been amazing assets in my platinum group. Not only for me, but for everyone else in it. So I'm glad that I could be a help to you. I appreciate you guys. Dwight says to Jim, I have a MK4 condenser mic and it is up above facing down at a 45-degree angle. I've heard sound engineers recommend to position shotgun mics that way also. But Tim Tippett's told me to put it this way, so I do what Tim says. Tim said to do this, I do this. But once he explained why, it makes perfect sense. As long as you are speaking through the envelope, it helps prevent plosives. Jim says, Caesar Dwight, what's your take on that? Tycon Delar says, hi, Angela. Is it better to use a shotgun or a condenser mic for commercial VO? I think either will work just fine. And Caesar, I'm sure, has got his opinions. So Caesar, jump in if you haven't already. But I think the microphone you choose, because technically you could use any mic you wanted to for any kind of type. However, it's, in my opinion, it's going to depend on your space and your voice, I think, more than anything else. What it is complementary to your space and your voice. Through my research in searching for a microphone that was going to be ideal for me in my situation, I have a noisy room. I have a electrical panel in this room, so there's noise. There's always going to be ambient noise. My computer is loud. I have a playground 15 feet outside my studio. My voice is a little bit of a lower register, and so through my research, I have discovered that the Sennheiser MKH 416 sounds a little bit better with the lower register voices, and being a shotgun mic, it's not picking up anything so much behind it or even to the sides of it. It's like laser focused on my mouth and what's coming out of it. So therefore reducing any other kind of noise. So for me, a shotgun was ideal. However, I have used other types of just regular old condenser mics that were, front facing. They weren't omnidirectional. They were just unidirectional. Or you could even set it to just unidirectional so it's picking up just what's in front of it. But I think that's really what it comes down to. Whatever is going to be most complementary to your space and to your voice. But if you have a killer space and a, I guess a mid-range voice, you could probably do any kind of microphone. Guys. Jim says, I tend to talk at or nearly so to my condenser mic, and I mail Audiolab regularly, no issues. Oh, you mean you pass Audiolab? Yes. Well, that also comes with practice and training, which you have done, and now these are your results. Colette says, congrats, Dylan. That's fantastic. Yeah. So Caesar says to Tycon Delar, both are used in commercial. Many engineers swear by the shotgun, specifically the 416, because of the harmonic saturation that occurs when used up close. It mixes better with music. There you go. Rockin' Dave Byron says, Merry Christmas to all of you and God bless. Yes. Jim says, the pop shield doesn't just stop plosives. It keeps moisture off the mic element, which can destroy it over time. Yes, Caesar will tell you all about that. He had a big mishap with, he had like a big storm that came through, and it was just with moisture getting into your mics. That I don't want to bring that up again, but it does matter. Shotgun is extreme cardioid, very focused. Yep. Dylan says to Jim, Audiolab does not take in plosive and mouth issues as part of their success algorithm. It only uses peak levels, total RMS, and I think average levels as part of their consideration. You are right, Dwight. However, Jim was humble bragging, and he deserves it. It takes a lot of practice and time, I think. It did for me anyway, to get audiobook requirements, the ACX standard, to get that down. Takes a little bit of practice to get there. and he's consistently meeting them. So, however, to your point, it doesn't really have much to do with the microphone or your equipment per se, but with practice and determination, you can do it. Dylan says, I actually went from a shotgun to a condenser mic on Caesar's recommendation. I can't express how much I love my TS2. The word I often use is buttery. Butter on a biscuit. Jim says, I meant nail. I know. It hit me after I went on nail audio lab. I'm with you. Whoops. Getting click happy. Dwight says to Dylan, you are a role model for many of us and a bar that we try to reach for. You are so talented that I try to reach one of your skill sets at a time. Yet Dylan is just one of those natural talents. Dylan's just a natural. Caesar says, my studio moisture level climbed up to 95% relative humidity. I almost lost all of my microphones. With a dehumidifier in place, words are hard. With a dehumidifier in place, they slowly came back to life over the course of several weeks. I'm so glad to hear that, because I know you've got quite the stable of microphones. Dwight says to Jim, I meant no harm. I agree with Angela. Meeting levels is hard to get to you. Kudos. I was only helping you on your quality issue that you seek. Now I need to hear a sample of yours. Jim, didn't you post samples in our Platinum Discord? You can, if you want to. If you want to get feedback from the group on an audition or something like that, post it in the Discord and ask for feedback. You can do that too. So now that you're hitting ACX's standards via Audiolab, right? If you want feedback on your audio quality or your performance or any extraneous mouth noises or anything like that, then you can do that. Is post samples in the Discord and ask for feedback. Dylan says, oh, I shouldn't be a role model for anybody, LOL. I'm envious of your organization and drive. Everybody's got talents outside of VO. That is, everybody shares, especially in our Platinum group. Whatever you've got, you're sharing it with the group, and all of it helps. Yes, you're very organized. Caesar says, oh yes, for anyone curious about Dylan's mic, it is a SE Electronics T2 unique mic. Titanium capsule, very fancy. Andy Serkis recorded all of the Lord of the Rings through that mic. It was, in a word, delicious. I'm trying to picture that mic. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on a side tangent, but everybody go Google that. Dwight says to Dylan, organization doesn't pay the bills. It could. It could if you offered consultations. But it helps save the sanity as you are trying to tame the VO chaos. Jim says, I will put a book sample in there. Haven't made short samples in a while. Jim says, Dylan and Caesar seems to be good practitioners and here, good examples. They are. My cup of tea says, super late. I bring donuts. Good. Yes, typically, if you're new here, if you're late, you bring donuts. Enough to share with the group, because we like donuts here. Especially me. I got a sweet tooth, and I love donuts. Have donuts with your coffee. But I think that's going to wrap us up for today. Thank you again for everyone who donated super chats today. You guys are so amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of you. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Hug your family tight. Be grateful for everything that you have. And spread love and joy this holiday season. And I will be back on New Year's Eve, which is next Tuesday. Crazy. And I think we will. I think we'll talk about goal setting or something like that. Maybe just like a review. Maybe you guys will be able to share major accomplishments in 2024 and what's to come for you in 2025. Maybe we can do something like that. But if there is anything else that you guys would like to discuss or to pick each other's brains about, or, if there's anything that you guys are more curious about learning, then please put it in the comments below if you're Team Replay. And if you are Team Replay, then please consider subscribing. This amazing community of people, we're all amazing. And I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, but I'm wishing you guys very happy holidays, and I'll see you guys next week. Let me see if I can get to end the stream without it blowing up. Bye.